This is Bob Sansevier with Pioneer Press sports editor Mike Bass. Now, Mike, you and I are sitting here, and we're both sitting upright and seem to be having a decent day, which is more than you can say for the Twins. They're falling apart and falling over.
0-4. I mean, nobody thought that they were going to be really, really good, but this is bad. They're bad to watch. When a team doesn't hit, they look flat. So, are they trying too hard? Are they just not good? This is a bad start, and it's a bad omen.
Well, I don't think the start's going to get much better because they actually face the possibility with 2 more games with the Angels and 3 with Texas to leave Minnesota and head for Yankee Stadium 0-9. I mean, when you look at it, there's no, they'll get a win here. There's no reason through the first 4 games to give you hope that things are going to improve right away. I do think the team will certainly start to hit, and the pitching could come around when they get things straightened out. But right now, there doesn't seem to be a lot of indication of things changing.
Yeah, I thought that the hitting would be okay if everybody was healthy and playing. They seem to be healthy. I thought that the pitching was going to be a problem. Now they're down to their 7th starter. That looks like it's going to be a problem. Baker, who knows what's going to happen with him? This has the makings of a really bad team. It doesn't mean that they can't turn it around because it is early and you don't want to put too much on 4 games and say, well, if this were 4 games in the middle of the season, nobody would make too big a deal out of it. But to start the season 0-4 like that, you want to build a little bit of momentum.
No, and it's never a good thing when you aspire to mediocrity.
Yes.
Because that would be improvement if they got mediocre.
Yes.
And that's not a good thing. But it goes beyond, though. They got this the homestand here. With the 2 against the Angels, 3 with the Rangers. Then they go to 4 games with the Yankees, and it doesn't get easier. There's Tampa Bay still to be played. Boston is coming up. They have the Angels at 1 game at the end of the month, and they start the May with 2 more games with the Angels. It really doesn't lighten up on this team. This first month for them is going to be brutal.
It'll be interesting if they keep going like this, and which isn't to say they're going to lose 162 games. But if they keep going like this, how fast will it be before you start seeing Target Field start to empty out?
Well, I do think that if
relatively speaking,
yes,
I don't think it's.
But if the weather is nice, people will go more to stick a bag on their head and to take it off only to have a beer.
Well, it might help keep them warm.
It could, especially the way it was the other day.
Yes.
Now the Vikings they made a little bit of news, or one of their players did without trying. Percy Harvin, a story came out, I believe it was a Sporting News report that talked about players that were entitled under Urban Meyer at Florida and the things they got away with. There were allegations that he missed the 2008 opener because he had been using marijuana.
Florida talked to him and his family and all that. Yeah, it's concerning. But, on the other hand, we seem to have seen a guy who has grown up. So in that case, does that look like more of a success story of somebody who's overcome that? You certainly hope so, because this kind of behavior is awful. And it sounds like that it was tolerated at Florida, that things were just completely out of control. And the way the story depicted it, he was kind of like the exhibit A of player entitlement.
And I've found him since he got here to be engaging and a decent guy, and he won the Corey Stringer Award that goes to the guy the most cooperative with the media. Frankly, I would have voted for Jared Allen because I don't think anybody was more cooperative than he was. But it's still, a lot of guys felt that way about him. And now let me ask you this. There was a story last week about Mo Claiborne, the defensive back, that the Vikings have on their radar. I think they should take Matt Khalil, but there's Spielman has been throwing Claiborne out because they need a cornerback. Should teams put a lot of weight in things? It got out that he had a 4 on his Wonderlic test. Now, one of the questions that, as an example question that's been on the Wonderlic test, is what is the 9th month of the year? And they give you 4 choices. Yeah. September happens to be one of them.
Yes.
But should weight be put to something like the Wonderlic test when you're drafting a football player?
I think you don't want to overblow it. You don't want to underblow it. I think when you're talking about people that you're going to spend a lot of money on and invest in the future of your franchise, you want to look at a lot of different aspects of it. That's probably one of them. I don't know that would be kind of I see that, I'm not going to do it. By the same token, if they ace the Wonderlic test, say, I'm going to draft that guy. But it's something else you kind of want to see, how people are processing information.
Well, frankly, maybe the beauty of the Wonderlic test is you tell him you give him one thing, he's never going to read the contract and know what he's signing.
I think that's what they have agents for.
Well, maybe you can convince him he doesn't need an agent. He did get a 4, allegedly. Now, where do you see them? Do you think as time gets closer that they are getting locked into Matt Khalil, the left tackle they desperately need?
It's all smokescreen stuff right now. They got to go after Khalil. I think if they can get an incredible trade to go down just a few spots and get another high draft pick, a second rounder, maybe a first rounder for next year, I could see them doing that. But if you're staying at 3, there's no way you don't take Khalil. I think it's crazy. But it's just typical draft smokescreen. Do you hope that maybe the other quarterback ends up moving his way up, that somebody wants to trade? Do you think they scare the team at 4 to think that he's not going to fall down there? It's all a game right now. But if things stay the way they are, they have to draft Matt Khalil.
And we are in complete agreement on that. And actually, I talked to the governor yesterday, and it's the first thing he mentioned to me, that they should draft Khalil.
Yes.
So there's 3 of us in the state that believe. Actually, there's probably most of the people in the state believe that, except perhaps someone at the Vikings will make the call.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like on draft day if they call out the name and it's not Matt Khalil? What the reaction would be?
Well, they will make a good argument if it turns out to be Claiborne, if they keep the 3rd pick. Because he is one heck of a corner. There's no question he's been a terrific cornerback. But if I were running a team, I would want to protect a young quarterback.
Exactly. That's the thing is, it's great. Yeah, you need a great cornerback in this league. They have some issues there, no question about it. But the offensive line, especially that tackle position, there's so many things that trickle down from there. You're right. You have to keep Ponder healthy. You've got or Webb or whoever's end up playing quarterback. Adrian Peterson is going to be
still going to be a young quarterback.
You've got to have you build on the lines, and that's one of the things that Childress with Fran Foley and Spielman did, is that they built on the lines, and then they started getting playmakers on there.
And you need to keep in mind, and the Vikings need to, and you would think they would, even though he is not the player he was when he first got here. Steve Hutchinson was still a very good player at left guard. He's gone now, so that left side is being rebuilt, and it'd be good to start rebuilding it with a guy who could turn out to be an all-pro in the years ahead. So, speaking of the years ahead, in the days, weeks, months, years, and eons ahead, I'm sure we'll be talking more about this.